Today we're going to talk about building a no excuses mentality. And it's hard because there's so many things that go on in life. How many times have you started a season thinking, I want to do whatever it takes? In an off season, I'm going to do whatever it takes. I have the best season of my life. But something falls off. Something slips away. And there's a reason. But sometimes it's just an excuse.
Because at the highest level, there is no gray area. There is no, I almost did it or I meant to do it. It's a simple scale of done or not done.
And today we're going to be breaking down what it really means to be dialed and driven.
And welcome to the Dialed and Driven Mentality Podcast. I'm host Jeff Lerg, along with the amazing co-host Natalie Ferenc and Chris Palmer. And today on this no excuses mentality, I want to start out with really a story that summarizes what it means. And maybe this is a great way for some of our young athletes to truly understand no excuses. I'll bring up a story of really a primary staff member of my goalie school, Steve McGuire. If you know our camps, you'll know Coach Steve. So when Steve was a senior in college, he was finishing playing his club hockey at U of M Flint. He's always been a super hard worker, which is the reason why I wanted to keep him coming back as a part-time staff member in terms of our summer camps. And then during his senior year, he was a super hard worker and he had to kind of pay his way a bit for his schooling. So I offered Steve a job. I said, Steve, let's see if you can balance your educational responsibilities, your club hockey responsibilities, and then working full-time for me. So Steve did, and this is the story that truly defines it. He was playing, and when you play club hockey, those are usually get slotted like super late games. Like they're not ideal. They're like 8 or 9 p.m. and you're hours away. And so we had these 7:15 a.m. clinics at one of the local associations. We had those on Sunday mornings, probably 7 to 10 times during the course of the year. It was our contract with them. And Steve was my go-to guy. So Steve, after a game one time, I pull up to the parking lot and I'm usually the first one there. It's like 6:30 in the morning. I'm just there kind of making sure no issues happen on the way. I'm there early and I see his car and all of a sudden, like there's no movement. He is sleeping in his car in the rink parking lot. So I ask him I let him get up, do his thing. I ask him, like, Steve, why are you sleeping in the parking lot?
What are you doing, Steve?
Yeah. And he's like, well, I did not want to be late. And I knew if I went home after this away game, club hockey wise, and I woke up in Flint and I had to drive down to Ann Arbor over an hour away, that I could miss my alarm or sleep in. So I didn't want to risk it. So in the middle of the night, he got home from his game, drove right to the rink and slept in the parking lot.
What a guy. That's an amazing story.
Is why he's our go-to guy and is taking the lead in a lot of operations. And that's a no excuses mentality.
Yeah. Definition of dialed in, Steve McGuire in the dictionary.
How hard is it? There's so many things to do, right? You're a kid trying to have fun. You have birthday parties. You've got high school parties. You have all these things you like to do, fun with your friends. It's so easy to miss a day. It's so easy to miss a thing. It's so easy to miss eating right or getting the right sleep. It's so easy to scroll. And these things, they just kind of slip in because you're a person. Don't feel bad about it. It's what happens. But if you're going for this big dream, this big, serious thing, the only way you're going to get this is to do every single thing you can to try to get that. And it's incredibly hard. We know that. And
what you really just described is what our mentality of our podcast is, the dialed and driven mentality. And we've talked about it before. It's knowing the task at hand and executing at the highest level. And another quick story I'll share, just another personal story of really, and that's sometimes the best way to learn is through watching others who've been there and done that. Over one of the most recent weekends, my family and I went up to our alma mater at Michigan State. And Tom is always the basketball coach there. He hosts this fundraising event every year. So he has this ISO 5K event. So we had never been there, but we like to go back up to campus, good setting. So we go there. My wife ended up doing a great job. She ran the 5K for the fundraiser. But so that was cool. I was just playing dad and spectator this weekend, watching our youngest. But my oldest daughter, we signed her up to run in this half-mile event. So this half-mile run, they did an amazing job setting up the starting line, kind of showcasing where to go. They were kind of following some adults along the way, and then the finish line. And my advice to her before the race, because she's never run a half mile, she's not engaged full time in track and field or any event like that. But I just told her, hey, just don't stop. Just try to keep moving slow, along the way. Just
good advice.
Just keep pushing yourself, but don't stop. Just kind of, if you got to move slow. But so she understood the task at hand, and I was super proud of her. She was kind of following the people, and then all of a sudden I see her down the stretch. Like, she tried to slow down for a minute, kind of keep her pace going, and then she just dug in and sprinted the final, I don't know, probably 200 meters, gave it. Wow. She was giving it.
Wow.
And I was like, that is dialed and driven. So no excuses. I've never done it before, but understood the task at hand and executed at the highest level. So her best, I would say, good athletic feat so far.
Absolutely. She learns from the best. Your track and field.
We're trying. I wouldn't say that's my best, but anyways, no, but that's truly what we mean. You get to understand what your role is in a certain environment, and then you just push forward and find a way. And the phrase, point thumbs, not fingers, that means you look at yourself first for the answers as opposed to blaming the surrounding environment.
I love what we just said, and it's a little bit off topic, but for the parents, it's so good that somebody is almost crazily driven as you are, because you are just this different frequency of human. You didn't shove that into your kid. You weren't like, oh, you got to do it. You weren't like this neurotic, you got to go. You gave her a very reasonable plan, and then she got to choose her own animal, which was great. The animal came out the last 200. It's cool. I wanted to mention, sometimes it's so hard to do things because there's so many distractions in life. And one of the things I see all the time is this lack of mental toughness in people, which I understand. And I certainly don't have all my crap together either. But in categories, I'm incredibly tough. In terms of taking care of my kids, in terms of coaching, I'm all in. And I think that if you could ever get to a point where when you're hitting your head on something, let's say for whatever reason, you're just not feeling like you have it that day. It's the middle of the summer, your friends are out doing something fun, and you should be hitting the gym, and you're not. Or you're in there and you're kind of half-assing it. Anytime you feel that resistance back, that kind of negativity, if you just push back just for a second, just push back for a second, you'll find out you can get past that barrier. You can. Each thing's about a barrier. I work with a great guy who trains Navy SEALs, and the whole thing looks so random, right? The whole idea of hooking yourself up like a human chain, sitting down in the waters off the coast of California at sunset when the sharks come out. It's all messing with your brain. It's all stuff that none of it's particularly hard. It's just stuff that feels hard. It's scary. The push-ups, the sit-ups, the pull-ups, the who's going to carry the boats, the whole thing. That stuff is all just simple stuff to make you doubt yourself, to give you the opportunity to just push back in a moment. And if you push back in a moment, you'll find out there's another space, and you can push back at that and push back at that. I've had people doing push-ups till they can't do anymore. And they get to the point where they can't get their body more than like 1/8 of an inch off the ground. And they're on this hill with dirt in their face and dust and bugs and frustrated. And they get to this point where they can keep going. They realize after a couple hours of this, they can keep going. And they still keep going up and down the hill and 1/4 inch off the ground, to the point where I have to stop them. That's the amazing thing. When things suck, when you feel like, man, I just can't do this, or I don't feel like doing this, all you have to do is take one micro step in the direction of the thing you should be doing. And I promise it changes the energy, and it shows you that you're almost infinite in your capabilities. Even if it's 1/4 inch off the ground, you still have something in you, even when you think you don't.
And I want to backtrack to Jeff's two stories and just the themes that came out of both of them. First with Steve McGuire, my coworker, Jeff's employee for our Future Pro USA company. no excuses. He wasn't going to use his excuse of not having his alarm go off, or I slept through, or there was traffic. He was going to make sure he was at that clinic no matter what. No excuses. Wasn't going to play the victim on that. And your second story of your oldest daughter, she had never run a half mile before, and I would say is still pretty inexperienced in running, and gave it her absolute all and did incredible for her first try at something.
Yeah, exactly. There was no excuse there. Of course, the easy way out is, I've never run a half mile, so I just couldn't do it.
Right,
and
exactly.
That was what made me proud. And speaking of that, with never doing it, I've seen Chris work with his athletes before at the academy environment, and I've seen some of these activities you push them through, Chris. Like you I don't want to say you push them, but you give them the option to keep going or not going. And many times you find, and what I kind of am able to view, is that people push themselves way beyond what they thought they could do, which is really the point of you helping them kind of get to that mentality, right?
Yeah. It's so weird. You've probably heard people say when you feel like you can't, you're at about 40% capacity. And I don't know what the numbers are. Nobody does. Everybody's different. But it is true. There is so much left. And there's this other thing too, and that's that if you get to a point where you just decide that something's a certain standard for you, like no excuses, if you choose not to blame people, you can be pissed at people, you can be frustrated and talk through that. You're not getting the ice time you want or something seems unfair, be upset about that. But that's all environment. It's all just stuff around you. In the end, you get to decide, are you going to let that stop you? Are you going to let some unfair thing on a team hold you back? Are you going to let not getting the team you want hold back your goal of becoming a great hockey player or whatever sport you're in? You have a choice at this moment to just set a standard for yourself. I'm going to give everything I have here. I'm going to give everything I have here. And you decide that's your vision. There are no excuses. This is what you've lived for. This is what you've fought for. You put so much time into this. If you decide what your standards are, that standard then becomes your beacon when things get kind of gray and hazy. And I love that idea, because if one of your standards truly becomes, after this podcast, I'm not going to make excuses. No matter what, I'm going to give everything I have for everything I want. Your life can change in this moment right now. It can. This isn't some fluff in some poster in a waiting room somewhere. You can change your life right now by deciding in just one little step, I'm not going to make an excuse about this today. And it eventually gets some momentum where it becomes part of your identity.
And now a message from our sponsor.
Let's be real. Talent isn't your problem. Your mindset is. Most athletes break under pressure, can't stay consistent, and keep getting the same average results because their mindset was never built. This is Jeff Lerg, host of this podcast, and that's the reason we created the Dialed and Driven Success Formula. It's a 14-week mental performance system that builds real confidence, discipline, and habits that actually show up when it matters. Our results have shown that every athlete that has gone through our program has reported improvement in their mindset and consistency. No excuses, no wasted time, just systems that get results in 20 minutes a week. If you're tired of being average and you actually want to separate yourself, go to dialedandrivenmentality.com/success formula and start thinking and performing like someone who's dialed and driven. And speaking of athletes who have high standards and have had their lives changed like a blink of an eye, I'll give my Dialed In Athlete of the Week, Kevin McConaughey. He's a Detroit Tigers baseball player. There's obviously fairly early in the baseball season, but he's a 21-year-old rookie, and this guy is dialed. When we're recording this, he is leading all rookies in Major League Baseball in every single category. And baseball has like a long list of stats that they go by. Some of them you don't even know why there's so many initials or letters in there, but the meaningful ones, I mean, runs, hits, on base percentage, batting average, et cetera, he leads every single category. And with his life-changing aspect, he just signed, even though he's a rookie, 21-year-old rookie, he just signed an 8-year, $850 million
contract extension? Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Well, that's pretty good, Jeff.
Yeah, you're pretty good.
That's really, really good.
Amazing.
I can't even.
he kind of set the stage for that opening day. He won like 4 hits in his first ever major league game, and then just kind of kept the train rolling. So he really is dialed, and not that he's just a local guy or not that he's just playing for our local team here. He's really the kind of taking the Major League Baseball by storm this year.
So yeah, Jeff, you actually made me think of something. I actually was at the game where he hit his first career home run, and let me tell you, Comerica Park erupted. Like, it was chaos fighting for that home run ball, and the person who got it, they tried to take the ball from him, actually, and it was a whole scene. And I hope that guy got something for that ball, because that is going to be a historic ball, I can imagine.
I feel like we should know if he was like some highly touted player coming up. I just know from just kind of tracking it from afar. I've been to just one game this year so far as well. But anyways, yeah, that's good to know. And that could have been you fighting for that ball.
I was literally the section over, so it could have been me. Could have been. Could you imagine? I have just this historic home run ball. Anyways, my athlete is also a baseball player, but you might not think it's who I'm going to say, just because it is Olivia Pichardo. It is a woman, and this is her senior year at Brown University, and she just became the first woman ever to pitch in a Division I baseball game.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. Very, very cool.
Seriously.
And to the critics, she's actually never played softball. She's always played baseball her whole entire life. Yes, I promise you. And
is she grown in the lab or something? Yeah. Like, seriously, no, how does it happen? That's crazy.
Yeah. So her dad was the one that got her into baseball originally when she was 5 years old. But yeah, girl has played baseball her whole life. Cool thing about her is that she tried out for Brown.
Yeah, made the men's team as a
Division I baseball team at Brown. I believe that was in 2022.
Seriously, honestly, if I didn't know you guys, I would say you're joking with me. How does anybody avoid the softball path as a female? You're funneled into that. I mean, after T-ball, you're funneled into that.
She's dialed in. That's why she's my athlete.
I've never heard of it.
That makes zero. I've never ever heard of that. That's amazing.
Heard of a female
she needs more
Gotcha.
headlines for sure. And then in 2023, she made her debut as the first woman to actually play in a Division I game. And she actually she was a pinch hitter and hit a ground ball to first base, made it on the base. So second historical moment for her. And then most recently, her third, that is why she's my dialed in athlete today, is that she threw the 2 final pitches of her game on April 25th and top of the 9th and threw 2 pitches, got the batter out on first base.
So she played, hitting, pitching, everything. Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, just for girls listening to this, think about what happens. So many girls, they come into hockey and there isn't a girls team. I mean, girls teams are not in the majority at all. So they want to play on a guys team in high school all the time. And I don't know how many times, and this drives me nuts. It doesn't drive me nuts. It infuriates me where you'll see some guy who has some sort of bad feeling because a girl's on the team and maybe feels inadequate, and he blows up some girl. And next thing you know, she's taken out in a stretcher. I can't stand that. There is so much adversity for females playing on male teams, or predominantly male teams. It's so hard. And I think about this amazing college athlete who somehow avoided this path of softball, which is how they funnel you that way. And talk about having excuses. She has a million excuses that seem like good reasons not to go down this path. I mean, there's a bunch of reasons. Oh, it's not going to work. They're stronger than me. They're bigger than me. I mean, talk about a relentlessness. This person, I don't know her, but she decided completely, no excuses. I'm going to handle whatever happens. And for girls who are out here and you're out there playing on these mixed teams, you have plenty of reasons to quit too. And I hope you don't, because whatever opportunities, what you have, tell me this person isn't a role model for just saying persevere, go for the thing you want, actually decide I'm going to keep going in this direction no matter what people do. I'm not going to let them stop me.
Yeah, absolutely. So she's my dialed in athlete this week for 1, breaking barriers for women playing baseball, and 2, no excuses mentality. She's paving the way.
It's incredible.
So now we're going to transition into our questions of the week, and we have 2 questions. And the first one starts out as, how early do you believe you can truly see the separation of athletes who say they want to play at the next level from those who actually get there?
Yeah, great question. For me, I always have a personal gauge with athletes, and I always ask the question of like, who is your upcoming games against? Who are you playing this weekend? And a lot of time for me, that clarifies whether they're really in it or not mentally. And one athlete now, so usually around 12 or 13 years old, I'll start to really use that as a gauge. When you're younger than that, sometimes you'll of course get athletes who know everything and they know who they're playing, what the scores were, where their standings are. But usually that early teen age year is a good identifier, and that's my question I ask. And one female goaltender who's now going into 14, who I believe is a legit Division I prospect, I was asking her that question at 11 and 12, and she was giving me everything. Oh, we're playing this team, this team, this team. This team's been really good. This team we've struggled against. This team I didn't play so well against, so I'm excited to play them. Those are the type of answers that really clarify to me as a coach whether you're really dialed in.
Yeah. I think on the hockey side, I see three different age groups. One is Bantam. When you get to Bantam, it's so hard. I mean, all of a sudden the physicality comes in and you just have to decide, is this what you want? Or are you going to be able to give everything you have? The other age group is after the 15 draft, the whole USHL draft. And at 15, 16 draft goes by, all of a sudden you either decided you're still going to be all in and you're going to keep going on this path, even though you didn't get maybe the dream of being drafted at 15. And the other one's at juniors. Just deciding, am I going to make this next jump? Am I going to give everything I have, even though now I'm living in somebody's house with their dogs and their cigarette smoke and their plans of eating and their spousal fighting or whatever stuff there is? Those 3 points are the 3 points I really see this big change where people either take their foot off the gas or they decide to go all in.
Yeah, awesome answers. Jeff, I really liked what you said on that with kind of the 11, 12, 13, because I was an athlete when I was younger, was never pushed into hockey or sports, and I just really enjoyed them. But like internally, when I turned 12, 13, I really started to really realize, okay, what am I doing? Who am I playing? How can I do better in here? And I kept more of a mental note and paid more attention to my development in that aspect. Mm-hmm. But going into our second question, it reads, in today's landscape of social media, the hype around recruiting and early specialization, what should athletes ignore to stay focused on long-term success?
Ignore everyone else around you in terms of what their success status is. And for me and my generation growing up, it was a blessing in disguise. We didn't know what the kid in California was doing that I may or may not be competing with for a college spot in the future. Like, we didn't know that information. We didn't know if they were committed to a junior team or what their off-ice workout routine was all about. It was just that naivety of not knowing what the others were doing, but being purely focused on executing what I needed to execute. I could care less what others were doing. I was solely focused on my workout, my next skate, my next time that I needed to compete at a high level. So that would be the best advice is, although it's very difficult to ignore all of the information out there, you can still know it, but be purely focused on your own task at hand.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And it's really hard. And I love that you say it's hard to do this because it is. It's an instinct. We talk about the amygdala all the time, the fear center of your brain, creating doubt, fear, and worry, comparison game, all this kind of stuff. And it's going to happen. It's instinctive. It's a survival instinct. And unfortunately, that thing can make you scroll. It can make you subscribe. It can make you get notifications about every single thing. And all of a sudden, oh, this guy has this and this guy has that. This girl has this. And you see the whole world and all this kind of information. It can make you so overwhelmed that you can't help but be sucked in. You can't help but compare yourself and go, well, gosh, that person just had that and I have this. All of that stuff is actually irrelevant. It really is. There's no scout in the world that actually cares what somebody else did versus what you did. They care about whether you're amazing on the ice, whether it's some guy on a Sunday morning paid $30 to go scout for a remote juniors team somewhere, or whether it's somebody who does this all the time as part of some sort of advising role. People look for who's outstanding on the ice, who's doing an amazing job. And sometimes it's the kid who's still fighting it out in the last 90 seconds of the game when you're down 10-0. That's special. Everybody loves that. So the answer for me is, if you can somehow really get into this thing, and it goes back to the theme of the show today, if you can go back to this idea of being relentlessly dialed in, no excuses, this is my plan, this is what I'm going for, no matter what the noise is, and try not to let the social media stuff get to you, all the rumors get to you, all the, hey, somebody else has lit up a goalie a bunch of times today and I can't bury one in practice. Comparisons are normal and they're going to haunt you forever. It's your job to push past that instinctive doubt, fear, worry, to really decide what is your mission. And your mission truly is development and visibility, And that's all there ever is. You get as good as you can get, and that's the best you can get. And you're going to be on somebody's map or you're not.
Yeah, a little piece of advice that I can add is I grew up in a time where social media was starting to really get big with posting your commitments and showcasing you won this tournament and got selected to go to this camp. And something that I did, which I feel like really, really helped me, is that if I was going to go verse so-and-so from Arizona or Colorado or Massachusetts in a game or a camp, and I'm in a mini game or I'm actually in a live game playing them, I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure I beat them on the ice. And that for me is enough satisfaction to ignore the comparison or they got the commitment before me, because I know I played better than them.
Yeah, no, I love it. You're preaching to the choir with that statement. And that's where the phrase knowledge is power. That's the power you want to have, not the comparison about where they currently are athletically. It's the knowledge knowing that someone chose them over you, and that's your fuel to the fire.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I committed really late for my class and my age, and gosh, I could have sat there and said, "Oh, this person committed. I can't go there. Woe is me." I didn't let that bother me.
Yeah, and to summarize, really one phrase that kind of brings in all of our lessons on this topic is the best find a way and the rest find out. It's a results-oriented business that youth athletics is kind of molding you for at the next level. And that's truly what it takes. It's results-oriented, and that's you got to show up when it's your time to shine.
If you're a parent, where are you not all in? Where are you missing it? Where are you maybe making an excuse and not realizing it? It's really, really hard. But if you look at what you're doing with your kids, what's the intention behind that? The intention for every parent I've ever known is wanting their kids to have something good. But sometimes you, in your adult way, get upset because things aren't moving the way you want. You want the best for your kid. And if you could look at that for a second and try to catch yourself when you feel that overwhelming pressure, and I felt it myself. I've got 4 kids who played hockey. There is a feeling of, oh my gosh, they're not getting what they can get. And sometimes that brings out the worst in me. And maybe sometimes it brings out the worst in you. And the moment we change our tone, the moment we become too desperate, too insane, too leaning in, too, hey, we got to do this, then we change the whole energy of how it is for our kids. So think about that and think, is there some way you can lead with love, caring, concern, and interest in their lives and support and nurturing and encouragement, because they don't get a lot of it. It's so hard to get encouragement, and you're the most important encourager for them. So please, if you can, ask yourself quietly, don't share this with the world. Are you dialed in every single way, giving everything you can to the love, caring, concern, nurturing, support in your kids' lives? And if you're not, find a way to add some of that. I promise you it will help your kid flourish. As far as the kids out there, I know what you're trying to do, and it's really, really hard. And you hit your head all over the place where you're jumping levels, trying to make teams. Ask yourself, is there something you're missing? And maybe what you're missing is having an honest conversation with your parents that says, I'd like to take Sunday off. I'd like to just go be a kid for a day. Maybe it's, I want to do more, but I don't know how to ask for it. Figure out, what is that thing? What's that little thing that you know? You can feel it in your gut, man, I should do that, but I'm not doing it. And just address that one little thing. And then this podcast isn't just a podcast, but it's something that changes your life. We want that for you.
Thank you again for listening to our episode on No Excuses. If you haven't yet subscribed to our YouTube channel or on our audio versions on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, please do so. And we'd love if you shared some reviews on our show. It'll help us continue to grow. And one more reminder to stay dialed and driven on your goals, as that's the only way to accomplish success.
And that concludes today's episode. Thank you so much for listening. If you like what you heard, please give us a like, leave us a review, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. But most importantly, we would love for you to sign up to our free newsletter. Visit our website, Dialed and Driven Mentality. See you next week.